Hi, everybody. I'm Robin Covington. I'm the director of the Rhode Island Coalition for Elder Justice, a new position under our new grant. And this is Jean Gategno.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the program director of the Haven for Elder Justice. We're part of an organization called the St. Elizabeth Community, which is a long-term care agency. And they sponsor the Haven, which is a program that serves elder victims of abuse and sponsors also the development of the coalition. I'm sorry we can't be with you in the beautiful sunny state where you are, but we're happy to do this.
So, Jean, as you are the founding person of our coalition, it's really important to know kind of how the coalition started. So tell us a little bit about how the Rhode Island Coalition for Elder Justice got started.
It's a long history now. We've been working on this now for maybe 7 years, this concept. But when I was hired at St. Elizabeth to develop the Haven program for abused victims, in the overall scheme of things, we began talking about a coalition around elder justice, elder abuse way back then. But in talking to people in the community, talking to our partners, everyone thought it was a good idea and that it was needed, but no one had the time or the resources to spend to develop such a thing. So the Haven has been operating since 2009 as a shelter. It expanded into a community case management program for victims who do not go into shelter. And then we went on to apply for a grant through the Department of Justice, the Office of Violence Against Women. And it's a grant called End Abuse in Later Life. And in that grant, it required us to do several things. The primary portion of the grant was to develop a team of trainers from the community who would educate law enforcement, direct service providers, judges, and prosecutors. And in developing that team, we brought together the police, the Attorney General's office, an advocacy agency, and also the Adult Protective Service Unit. And at that point, we were able to obtain a memorandum of understanding with the Office of Healthy Aging, where the APS unit is. And that commitment was that APS would work with community partners to develop training, to offer training, and also to help us develop what we were going to call a coordinated community response. The CCR was the second major portion of the grant. It required St. Elizabeth to bring together partners from agencies around the issue of elder abuse. And we decided right from the beginning that we would call our CCR the Rhode Island Coalition for Elder Justice. And it was that team of trainers. It was the policemen, it was the Attorney General's office, APS, and the advocacy organizations that really worked together to help us reach out to other people and invite them into the discussion about developing a coalition for elder justice. It was really important for us long before we were able to put the structure into place. It was really important for us in the field of elder justice to bring partners together because police did not know how to work with community agencies, and they lacked real good information about what to do with an elder victim. And with APS, it had such a difficult reputation. In Rhode Island, APS investigates cases, and when they identify a case, they pass it on to someone else. The community even to this day has confusion around what APS can and can't do. So it was critical that APS come to the table and share their work and their experiences and their difficulties with people like police, community agencies, the AG's office, so that we could better understand our roles, and then we could begin to coordinate what we were doing for the elder victim. So the APS portion, the involvement was really critical from the first piece.
Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about the status of the coalition today and how it's evolved over time?
Yes. In the beginning, we just brought together a group of people that we all knew, our friends from the community. But over time, we met, and it was really important after a couple of meetings to define exactly what we were going to do, how we were going to do it, and why we were going to do it. So in the beginning, we spent a great deal of time thinking of things like our bylaws, like our mission and our vision. What do we want to do? Who do we want to be? And then who do we want at the table with us? So in the beginning, we spent a lot of time creating the structure of the coalition. And very quickly, we moved from doing those things, getting co-chairs and approving bylaws. Very quickly, we moved into identifying areas in the community that we thought needed to be addressed here in Rhode Island. And that's when we began to establish a committee structure within the coalition to address some of those issues. And the committee structure was really great because it brought together a diverse group of professionals within the committees to talk about an issue from all of their perspectives. Excuse me. A major issue that we're working on right now is the issue of guardianship. It's not to say that guardianships are not good, but when you work with elder victims, you're generally seeing the guardianships that aren't good. And we have a very complex system here in Rhode Island, and one that has very little accountability for the elder and for the guardian also. So we immediately created a committee to begin looking at guardianships here. In the future, this year, we're going to be sponsoring a major conference, and we're hoping to bring models of programs from outside of Rhode Island into Rhode Island. And we seem to be concentrating now on looking at model programs related to guardianships. Another issue that we're having difficulty with here in Rhode Island is the whole issue of home care. And it's a national problem. People don't work in the field, people don't get paid. And from our perspective, when someone needs to have in-home services and can't because there isn't any available, vulnerable people are really open to abuse. And, working on that issue, trying to encourage people to become home care workers, help explain how to do that. What is the licensing? What is the testing? We developed a roadmap for CNA students so that they know how to get from being a student to being a licensed permanent CNA. So those are the kinds of activities that we have developed through the coalition.
Thank you. So with that said, where is the coalition going? What are the future goals? I know you're working on passing the torch to me. So tell us, as the founding mother of this coalition, you've been here since its infancy. Where are we going? Where do you want to see us?
I think the next year is, really critical. The coalition has been developed under the umbrella of the Haven, which is under the umbrella of the St. Elizabeth Community, which is a long-term care nursing organization. And it's a very large organization, so structurally, it's very hard to become a priority in this size organization. And in fact, we need to work on the coalition as a priority. So this is the year that we receive funding from the National Association of Coalitions. And through that grant, we've been able to hire Robin. And the work for the next year is to really develop a strategic plan, a strategic work plan about what we will be doing over the next 3 years as a coalition. And part of that is, how do we become an independent organization, independent of a nonprofit, and how do we become our own nonprofit? And getting the freedom that we need to be able to really develop legislation, legislative advocacy, and so on. Things that are kind of restricted when you work for an organization that isn't exactly the same fit. So really the future is becoming a 501c3 standalone, independent organization.
Great. For more information, please reach out to us at the Rhode Island Coalition for Elder Justice. We'd be happy to speak with you. And thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
Yes, thank you very much.
Take care. Be well.
Bye-bye.